Okay, so for Johor paper 1, question 4 is a binomial and normal kind of distribution questions. So for question A will be a binomial distribution because they ask about the number of students, so it is apparently binomial distributions, and they state that 98% in a class attended co-curricular activities. So it's the probability of success if our event is students who attended co-curricular activities. So our probability, which is named as P, will be 0.98, or you can write as 98 over 100, or any form, but not in percentage. And the probability that, so the probability of failure Q will be 0.02, which is 1 minus 0.98, you will get 0.02. Then they state that the probability that all of the students attended co-curricular activities more than 0.6099 means that if they choose 5 students, all 5 students attended co-curricular activities. So if you remember the formula, it will be NCR. So N will be the number of students in the class, and we choose R will be the number of students attended co-curricular activities, and in this case, all the students attended the activities, no one absent. So the R will be same as N, and our probability success will be 0.98 power to N, and failure will be 0.02, which is not important because no one absent, power to 0 will be greater because more than 0.6099. And NCN always, for NCN you always get 1. NC0 and NC1 you always get 1. To remember that NCN will be equals to NC0, you always get 1. If you do forget, always try with your calculator, maybe with any value 5C5, you always get 1. So this I can write it as 1. Indices 0.02 to the power of 0, so it will always be 1. So you left it with 0.98 power to N greater than 0.6099. And then you need to insert log. So I insert log 10 on both sides, and I bring the N to be constant in front. So 0.6099, and in this case, when you divide log 0.6099, when you divide by log 10 0.98, you need to be careful because log 10 0.98 will be a negative value. So when you divide by a negative value, you need to change your symbol. Yeah, you need to change your symbol when you divide by a negative value. If you're unsure about the log, or you will make careless mistake, then express your log 10 log base 10 0.98 into the decimals first before you do your divisions. So after you divide, N should be less than second place 0.6099 10 0.98, so it will be less than 24.5. So since that N is a positive integer, so the largest number of N will be equals to 24. That's your answer for question 1. In this case, you'll gain 1 mark when you express the correct formula. You gain another mark when you know how to insert logarithm to solve this kind of questions, and you get a final mark for your final answer. That's for questions A. Okay, so I have no space for questions B, so I will just erase this part. Maybe I just move it here. Okay, so we now focus on question B. Question B is a normal distribution questions. They state that normal distributions, and they state that given that P, the probability for modulus or absolute value of Z less than m is equal to the 8 times of probability of z less than a negative m. So it should be less than. So for question B, first you need to know what is modulus of z. If you memorize that, that's good. But if you don't, then don't memorize. Understand it. So modulus of z will be plus minus z less than m. So it will be positive z less than m and z greater than negative m, because when you divide by negative on both sides, the inequality symbol will change. So you end up with probability of z less than m and probability of z greater than negative m. This is equivalent to the probability of modulus z less than m. Do remember this. So I'll leave it beside. So if you can't understand this, try to sketch a graph out. This is a bell-shaped graph. So let's say this is your m and this is your negative m. And they state that modulus z less than m. So you know that modulus z less than m is actually z less than positive m and greater than negative m. So it will be the region less than positive m but greater than negative m. So it will be this region in the center between negative m and m. In another word, it will be probability of z between m and negative m. Okay, so this is the first thing you need to know. Let me highlight this. Maybe I highlight this. This part will be represented with this part. And you need to remember that in a symmetrical bell-shaped graph or normal distribution graph, it will be symmetrical. So the left hand side, right hand side, if the value is the same, this portion and this portion will be symmetrical. It will be the same, and these portions here and this portion here will be the same. When the value is the same lah. When the value is m and negative m. So second part, they state that on the right hand side they state that p z less than negative m. So which part is this? This will be this part, the blue color part. And what they want to find? They want to find z less than positive m, which is the combination of the blue color part and the what they call the pink color part, purple color part. Okay, so they want to find the combination of this part and also this part, which is p less than m. So less than m, m will be here, less than m will be this portion here. Okay, so just understand this question first before you do it. We move on to the next step. So how do we need to solve this kind of question? Is it going to plus? No, it's just not, because they didn't tell us what's the probability, so we can't just simply plus it. So we need to know. So we express these equations, this equation here, the given equations, in another form. In which form? I will do it right for the right hand side first. For the right hand side, 8 times probability of z less than negative m is actually same as greater of m. As I stated just now, less than m, this part will be symmetrical, will be same as this part. So it will be same as z greater than m. You know why I want to express in this form later. So for the left hand side, Same goes to left hand side. I need to express some things in terms of z greater than m. Okay, greater than positive m, in terms of positive m. So this purple part will be the whole area minus the left hand side and the right hand side up. Okay, so the left hand side will be probability of z less than negative m, and the right hand side will be probability of z greater than m, positive m. And since that they are symmetrical, these two part will be the same. So I can, instead of writing this, I can write it as 2 probability of z greater than positive m for the left hand side and the right hand side portion. Okay, so in order to get the purple portion, purple area, I will use the total area, which is 1, or the total probability is which is 1, minus the probability of the 2 probability of z greater than m, because this part is symmetrical as this part. So this part and this part will be 2 of probability of z greater than m. And I solve this equation will be 1 will be equals to 10 probability of z greater than m, probability of z greater than m will be 0.1, and I want to find probability of z less than m. So probability of z less than m would be 0.9, because greater than m will be this part here will be 0.1. So since that this part here will be 0.1, so 1 minus the whole part will be 1 minus 0.1, you get 0.9, this part here. Okay, seems like a long solutions here, but this actually a simple questions. You need to understand. If you don't understand, try to draw the graph out and you have a clear look on this kind of questions. And we continue with question 2. Find the value of m. So since we know that p z greater than m will be equal to 0.1, so refer to your table, normal distribution table. I'm not sure whether we have this here. Maybe in last page. Yeah, we have it. So find for the area which is 0.1. So 0.1 would be maybe 0.1. Yeah, here. So 0.1003, you need to minus out 3. But 3 is between 2 and 4. So in marking scheme, they allow you to minus either 2 or minus 4. So this will be 1.2 focus to this. Focus to this part, I highlighted 0.1003. And for me, I would just minus 4 maybe. So it will be 2. So my probability will be 1.282. Okay, you can choose to minus 2 also. You can choose to minus 2 here, which is you will end up with 1.281. So for the marking scheme, they accept both answer. So in this case, I will choose my answer should be 1.282. So my m will be equal to 1.282. So for this question, for question B, you obtain 1 mark when you know that this, you get this, and you get final mark for this. And for the value of m, you get the final mark for the value of m when you refer to the table. So that's all for this kind of question. For these questions, question 4, paper 1, Johor paper. So we continue next.